BuildingBeyond.me is a community. We try to help animals, including the humans. We fundraise to buy oxygen pumps for babies, water and food for families, from dog food and veterinary surgery, from shoes to food to milk and diapers. BuildingBeyond.me.
Did you know that your physical health plays a big role in your mental health? Healthy minds and healthy bodies go hand in hand. The problem for many is finding the time and getting the results they want. X-Force Body is perfect for people with busy schedules, with a mission to inspire you to become leaner, stronger, and in the process healthier. X-Force Body coaches will encourage, motivate, and inspire you through every workout, helping you achieve the results you desire. Learn more about X-Force Body. For more information, visit www.xforcebody.com.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network. We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Warner.
Hi, and welcome back. And you're listening to Moments of Clarity. I'm Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And my guest today is calling in from the United Kingdom, from England. And he's talking about being raised by someone who was an alcoholic and how it affected his mental health. And welcome back to Moments of Clarity, James Prescot.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, it's good to be here again. Loving it. Yeah.
And I really appreciate your transparency and ability to share all this stuff. And it's not easy to talk about, but sometimes processing, even for the show, helps us grow too.
Yes.
And we had a caller, Patrick, who called in, and he said that his son, he was drinking too much, and his son developed OCD habits, obsessive compulsive habits of overwashing his hands to the point where they were cut. And we're kind of talking now about that. We'll come back if you're just tuning in. That James had mentioned that he was getting bullied at school, and he didn't want to bother his parents, and he didn't want to put too much on him. And I want to welcome callers to call in. You're welcome to join us. 866-826-1340. If you have a story or a question about somebody in your family or someone you know, or even yourself, maybe that in the past that you're using too much, or someone else's, and it's infecting you, and join our conversation. 866-826-1340. And anyway, so what was that like, James? Because, looking back, I think that I didn't go to my parents I think I was getting bullied too at school, and I didn't go to my parents either. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was awful. I mean, that was not the best time of my life. What was happening to me was kind of psychological, mental bullying rather than physical bullying. Yeah. And it was just kind of every day. And I was quite, again, being more sensitive than most people. I was more vulnerable to it, and I was more upset by smaller things. And it just kind of kept on happening, and I didn't really get anything done about it at school. And I tried to bring it up at home and never really got anywhere. And so I just kind of stopped, to be honest, talking about it at home. My sister knew what was going on, but she obviously couldn't do anything. She was younger than me, and in a different school and everything, and not an adult either. So there was anything anyone could do. So you're getting told at school by your peers that you're not good enough, and that you're a loser, and you're pathetic, and you don't have any value and stuff. And then you go home, and then you're not hearing anything from your parents because they're kind of too busy with each other. there were times where we did get to spend time together with family. There were kind of, especially in the summer holidays, often we would go away as a family, and that would be kind of a break from everything. Mm-hmm. And that would kind of be like an oasis in the desert kind of thing. Mm. But generally, when we were at home and we were at school and day to day, it would just be like that every day, the fighting and the violence and stuff. And I blanked a lot of it out because it was too traumatic to deal with. And I'm only, again, really now kind of, and it's like 20, 25 years later that I'm dealing with it, that I'm really learning to remember it and understand what happened.
Right.
And
look at it from real eyes.
Yeah, it's just the worst thing that can happen, like at school, and then you have the trauma at home, and it's just relentless.
Yeah, the violence and fighting is not good for anyone's mental health to be around. No. It strikes your central nervous system. And do you have anything you want to feed in? Ed's got something to say. Hold on a second.
Well, yeah,
I can't hear you.
He's coming. There we go. I push the right buttons. Anyway, I came from one of those homes. When I was 11, my parents had divorced, and then stepfather came in, and something wasn't quite right, and we wound up moving to an area of the country in the Virgin Islands that alcohol was not only very easy to get, but cheap. So I guess when one of the parents, because it wound up being my stepfather, and when you said refereeing fights, that brought back so many memories. I remember in the kitchen and in the living room breaking them up, and it's something you want to go through 12 years old. Right. And I remember I didn't put the two together until I was probably about 14 or 15, and I still remember the day I was on a basketball court with 5 or 6 of my friends at a rec center or outside, and my stepfather had a distinct truck. It was because of the color and the cab on the cap on the back, whatever. And I remember everybody saying, "Ed, there goes your dad." And as he was going by, he's tilting a bottle in a brown paper bag, driving down the road. And I was like, "Wow,
that's embarrassing."
Yeah,
for a kid.
And now my sister was 2 years older than I was, and that wrecked her life because she went on to go in the Navy and wound up being discharged because of alcoholism. But I went in a different direction. I broke it all off. I was 3 days out of high school, and I was out of the nest as fast as I could, and I never looked back. And sometimes it was years and years and years until he finally stopped drinking. They wound up getting divorced, and it was just, the trail was so badly burned and broken. It gets really, when you see two people beating each other like that, and you're trying to, you don't understand why.
Especially two people you love, your parents.
And you don't understand why. You're trying to accept this guy that, is new to your family, and you're supposed to be your father. And what topped it off, really made it worse.
Yes, made it harder.
What made it worse is these two people were together all the time. Neither worked because one was disabled and retired, and the other one was retired. They were around each other all the time. I remember finding bottles here and there in the toilet, rattling around in the tank, in the laundry room, stuffed between blankets and stuffed between towels and stuff like that.
There's a problem when they're trying to hide it.
Yeah, and you throw it out and it makes them madder. But never violent. I was too big to get hit. I mean, I wasn't fat. I mean, I was 15, 16, 17 years old. I was playing football, and I was just too big for him. I was bigger than he was. So, and it came to a point where he grabbed me one time, and I looked at him, and my mom said, "Don't, and that was it." So
you're watching him bang your mom around. It's hard not to.
Yeah. And it's
I mean, so much of what you said resonates with me and my experience because I was bigger than my mother. She was like 5'2", and I'm like nearly 6 foot. And my dad's bigger than me. So it was when I was kind of refereeing, like you said, that's a great term to describe it. Refereeing their fights, like that was was more like pushing her away from him. I never was kind of attacked at all. It wasn't really directed at me. But yeah, there was an incident I was involved in with my mother driving, and she was going to drive drunk, and I got in the car because I thought, well, if I'm in the car, she won't drive drunk. But she did, and we had an accident, and she broke her wrist. And it's a miracle that she wasn't done for drunk driving, because she wasn't breathalyzed or anything like that. The police didn't get involved; they didn't even know about it. And it's a miracle that happened, that she wasn't kind of done for drunk driving. And it was a miracle I wasn't injured as well. My dad was furious, obviously, and that just started another kind of fight, But it was all through my teenage years this happened. And by the way, I went to university when I was
at least that you remember, probably.
Sorry?
You said it was in your teens that this happened. I said that's what you remember, but it probably happened more.
As a kid,
I went to university when I was 18 because I got away as quickly as I could. Like you say, I went to a university which was like 3.5 hours drive away, because I wanted to just be away from it. My dad actually left my mother just before then, so it did kind of calm down before I went to university. But and I was kind of relieved when he left, because it was just getting too difficult at home, and it was the only way to bring peace to the home was for one of them to leave, and it had to be him. So because she couldn't work and she couldn't afford to, anything like that.
A lot of people say a broken home is better than a fighting home.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I remember my dad told me, I do remember that vividly, sitting on a sofa, and he told me, and I literally physically felt relief that it was like, at last,
the fighting finally going to stop.
For ages, I've actually wanted that to happen, so that the violence would end, and it did, to be honest. And I think actually that helped my mother recover, because she didn't have that thing to spark off every time he came home, right. Because when they fought, it just made her more upset, and it made her drink more. So and that wasn't his fault. It wasn't anybody's fault. It was just, that's what happens when you get upset, and you're an alcoholic. That's what you're medicating with alcohol. So that's your response to it. So it did actually help her recovery for him to leave, and they did become friends again after.
And they did?
She went to recovery. She passed away a few years later, but by that time she was in recovery, and they'd kind of become friends again, and things were a lot better. So, but yeah, it leaves its mark. It leaves its mark on you, and you feel kind of caught in the middle, and that you don't really matter, and that you're not as important as anybody else, that you don't value yourself as much, and certainly, that kind of affects your self-esteem. It affects confidence, and obviously there's more anxiety because you're kind of brought up to believe that things are going to go wrong, that there's going to be disaster around the corner. So obviously that triggers the anxiety, and that definitely had an impact on me.
Well, as a kid, you don't understand what this drug is about. It is a drug.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't understand because, maybe I was a prude or old-fashioned, but I really didn't have my first taste of alcohol until I was like 17 years old, and it was nothing less to drink, and I took a swig of beer, and it was nasty. And I didn't understand why this drug did this. And then as I got older, I didn't understand if my mother absolutely knew there was a problem. Why was she fixing him a drink at night? Why did you encourage it? I don't understand. I never understood that part.
It's called codependency.
Yeah.
It is, and people enable somebody that's dysfunctional.
When I looked at family photos when I was a kid, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna. If I were to look at them today, and I've looked at them years ago, and I saw drunk, I was like, wow, that guy, was he ever sober? Every photo I saw, he looked wrecked, and I'd always thought that's just the way he was.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
I think that happened to me once with my father when he sobered up too for a little bit, and then he relapsed. But when he first relapsed, I was like, why do I recognize this? Like, what's wrong with him? It was because he was drunk again, and I recognized the old him,
Yeah.
And he's passed away
so
since,
true.
and I think, I don't mean to bash him, but it's just, it was kind of like, how do I know that behavior? And especially when you're little.
It's just, you kind of just, like, you don't understand it because you've never been drunk yet or anything like that.
Yeah. You just think, is that as normal